Hello and welcome to another episode of Saffron Honey Chai. And I'm here to ask, did you guys see K-pop Demon Hunters yet? Because I did, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I've always been an enjoyer of magical girl content. But K-pop Demon Hunters, first and foremost, why didn't y'all tell me it was coming out? Just all of a sudden, my TikTok feed exploded with these dancing men and their abs breaking shirts. I was like, Wonho, is that you? But it was so exciting to see an animated film that was good from start to finish. And then I saw it was a Sony animated feature. Like, of course, because Sony, they're the same people who brought us what? Spider-Verse. And Spider-Verse has just been banger after banger so far. So it's really nice to see people who still care about craftsmanship when it comes to making films, especially animated films. And this is like a PG-ish rated film. And I'm so appreciative that films that are family friendly are good again because we've had a rough time where we've had drips and drops of good content that's, able to be shown to children. Because a few episodes ago, I was like, "Oh yeah, Sinners is great. I loved it." But um you can't bring an 8-year-old to see Sinners, but you could sit down and watch K-pop Demon Hunters with an 8-year-old and like talk about the themes and the things that are going on in there. And you could feel like they're enriched by the show, by the movie, and the potential eightology of it all, because apparently they're planning 8 movies. So the next decade and a half is well planned for us. I'm looking forward to eating well in this content landscape. But I actually want to talk about some of the dynamics in the film, the relationship dynamics, because I know everyone was shipping Ruginu, but no one was shipping Ruginu harder than Ginu. As soon as he saw that girl, he shoulder checked her. He was like, "Oh no, I'm in trouble." He was in love from first shoulder check. He was like, "I need to make sure she's looking at me. I need to make sure she's thinking about me. Oh, she's mad at me. Oh, you're strong." My God, he wanted that cookie bad. I never saw anything like that in my days. Because why are you gritting your teeth looking up at her with excitement like that? Oh my God, is there a fan fiction writer in the writer's room about this? Ugh. I was shook. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A- And then, like, it was such a good, well written relationship that I wasn't even upset when. Do I want to add a spoiler here or not? I'll spoiler tag it. When he died at the end, I was like, damn, that's kind of sad, but it wasn't like usual where like, oh, the male villain, he dies, because he was not really a villain. He was he was someone who just wanted something. He wanted to figure something out for himself. Cause his whole impetus from the beginning, I just don't want to think about what I did. I don't want to think about what happened 400 years ago because he was ashamed of it because he couldn't deal with it. But if he had just sat down for a few sessions with a talk therapist or even a somatic therapist, he would have been through all that. He could have lived and been doing all his little soda pops by himself later on, having fun. But I digress. I really like how, even though it was like a traditional villain hero romantic matchup, that it wasn't like he was manipulating her. Because when you watch the film, he's a victim too. He's heavily getting manipulated and mistreated and turned every way but loose by Guima. Because anytime he's like, wow, maybe I could have a nice life. Maybe things could be okay. Here he goes, like, actually enforce PTSD. He's not even, he's not even supposed to be feeling that way naturally. It's not like it's coming out naturally, like he's upset by something and it's coming out or things are happening. It's like, no, you're going to remember this. I'm going to make you remember this because he has some kind of psychic hold over him and you're never going to know peace. So anytime things are looking like they're going good for him, here we go. Torment, psychological torment mode. So he really didn't have a shot of doing anything. He was really more of a henchman, I think, than like a proper villain. Now, was it his idea to do the Demon Boy event? Yeah, of course. It was his idea. But it was sort of like, it was like in the sense that when your friend has an idea of like, oh, we're going to sell lemonade so we can buy weed or something. And it's like, I don't smoke. Why would I help you sell lemonade to buy weed? It was in that sort of vibe. because he just wanted to forget. He didn't want to do anything. He just wanted to forget. And then he met her, and the memories weren't as painful anymore. And then on Rumi's side, her pain, oh my God, the pain of her identity, because Gino, he was ashamed of what he did. He didn't have to do what he did. But Rumi, she was ashamed of who she was because that shame was taught to her and enforced in her by her caretaker, by the woman who raised her. So she had that shame enforced, inbred, instilled in her, literally braided into her hair, like from the front of her scalp to the back. I don't know if you guys have had braids done before, but there's nothing that hurts more than those braids that start all the way at the front and braid in every single thought and dream you've ever had all the way down to the back. And that's a heavy braid, thick and heavy with trauma. So her whole thing was like, I'm ashamed of myself. I can't be who I am. I want to do this thing so I can finally be worthy. Meanwhile, she was worthy the whole time. She was worthy the whole time. And her friends saw that she was worthy the whole time. And her fans saw she was worthy the whole time. And her community, except for Celine, saw she was worthy the whole time. But she couldn't see it because she could only see the bad that Celine had instilled in her. She saw herself as a mistake because her caretaker in her youth told her, we can fix this. Soon this will be fixed. This is going to be just fine one day. But you can't fix your identity if there's nothing wrong with who you are. There's nothing to fix. And I like how through their relationship, even though, it wasn't like a typical romantic, it was just like enemies to lovers who could never be lovers type beat. They just got as close as they could to heal each other. Because Gino had to move past what he did. Of course, he should have had to face it. He should have had to face what he did and the consequences of it. But he didn't have to stay stuck in that terrible place forever. No matter what you do in life, give or take a few horrible crimes, you are always allowed to grow and evolve past that point. You don't have to stay stuck in that mud forever. You can move on. In fact, you're allowed to, and heavily, heavily encouraged to move on. So with that in mind, I really feel as though this meeting between them was fated. There's a Korean proverb that goes, Oginyan suchadoenyon, which is essentially every meeting, even a brush of cloth against cloth, is fated, it's written, it is supposed to occur. So even though technically their paths never should have crossed, Genie was alive for like 400 years. Rumi was a demon hunter. They never had a real reason to meet unless she was going to like chop him up. And even then, he was trapped in the demon realm. But because things were arranged in that way, they were able to meet so that Rumi could really be who she was, who she's supposed to be. Her whole life is built up. Oh, wow, we have to make the honeymoon go golden. We have to seal the honeymoon forever. When in reality, the situation of the demons is actually much sadder than it initially seemed. It seemed at first, they're just causing havoc and killing people. But they are all basically victims of the same evil, diabolical psychopath. Well, I don't want to say psychopath. That feels unkind. But the same evil, diabolical mastermind who is using them to supply him with human souls. So he's doing like second party murder. I don't understand it. He's doing things that don't need to be done and using them and their guilt and their grief and their shame in order to get what he wanted. And anything and anyone seems like it can become a demon. It didn't seem like, oh yeah, only like the most evil. Because Gino became a demon because he was tired of being hungry, starving in the streets. So we don't know why anyone else became a demon. The rest of the K-pop band, it seems like they were K-pop idols or trainees who just wanted to have their break. And if you guys know anything about the idol system, my God, that thing is a guima in and of itself, because the stars we see, the idols we see, that's a small percentage of the people who give their entire lives, all their youth to the system in order to come out on the other side and hopefully become idols or at least sing some songs and dance. But it doesn't always work out that way. And I like that it's shown that just because you are seen as bad doesn't mean you have to be bad forever. You can move on from being bad. You can say, actually, let's change it. Now, granted, I didn't like that you gotta die to do it, but I do like that, know, you weren't locked into that character path. You could move on from it. You could go on and do something else. And I appreciate that. And it means a lot to me. And I really hope we have more films like this because my whole life, I've really enjoyed animation. I've always loved seeing things animated on screen. I really enjoy the way that the human mind interprets the world around it and releases it out back to us. Because the work of animators is a little different than the work of like filmmakers in general. Because of course there's still a director, there's still a writer, there's still cinematography that happens. Like, they have to take pictures and stuff. But there's so much work that goes into every single frame on the screen, and it's the work of hundreds, if not thousands, of artists all at once, sometimes just to create a 1 minute sequence, especially for a rather big project like this. And I love to see how we come together to create art and how people respond to it because the movie came out last Friday and today is what, Tuesday? And there's so much fan art. There's so many TikToks. There are so many fan fictions on AO3. I saw there was like a 26,000 word one with 30 chapters or something. Like, what are you feeding these people? And I just need there to be more of this because for a long time, I know you've seen it because I've seen it too. It's just been like very boring, bland animated things, very boring, bland films. We're just remaking old stuff. Oh, yeah, let's keep the IP alive so we don't have to put it back in the public domain. Let's make another Mickey Mouse movie so we don't have to give up the copyright to the public domain. Let's make another Snoopy so we don't have to give it up. And I'm just so happy that people are letting creative ideas have their chance because the magical girl concept isn't brand new. It's not. We've always had magical girls and we will always have magical girls, God willing. That's my bread and butter right there. But there's always new ways of interpreting it, of showing it. And to show off and showcase Korean culture, I love that so much because Korea as a country, if you don't know, has come super far. They went from being like a war-torn nation that had to really rely on humanitarian aid for most of their, like the 1900s, to in the 1980s, they stopped being a site where you could go for the Peace Corps. And now they're basically a global superpower that has strong soft power through K-pop, K-dramas, K-films, and people not only see and acknowledge Korean culture, but also respect Korean culture and Korean people who have truly gone through so much hardship that I feel goes unappreciated in many, if not all spheres, because they've always been sort of the little guy. So I really love seeing Korean culture and Korean people and Korean artistry get to shine and how people are excited about learning more. And that's the beauty of creation right there because it lets us become more ourselves and more connected. So if you haven't already seen it, heavily suggest that you watch it. I'm not a cop. I can't make you, but I think you'll enjoy it. It's only an hour and 39 minutes instead of being a 2 hour and 30-minute monstrosity that has no commercial breaks. And you're like, please end this. It's really fun and I enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it too. And if not, you can give that to yourself. But thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.